are doing 15, and I'm also downloading. We're live. We're live. So look at me, Creative Con coming up in February. I will be there. Meet some of the most amazing people at Creative Con. So thank you, Julie Loken. I have no clue who Richard Walsh is, but let me just be clear. We are live on a few different channels right now. And on my favorite platform, which I love, Chatter Social. And we've got Lisa and Momo in the room. Thank you guys so much. This is live. I have no clue who Richard is. I really don't. Richard, I just so you know, on Chatter Social, I know I look like a sweet girl wearing this and a nice little white scarf, but at nighttime, Tuesdays and Thursdays, Joseph and I deliver Debate the News True Crime.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
And we do it live with an audience. So, okay. So let's start talking. So first thing is you're brave, you're bold, and you're bald.
There you go. 3 Bs. It's huge.
I wish I was bald. I just would love that. Okay, sorry. Just always love that. The 3 Bs make me happy. Triple B. I wish I was. Okay, so Richard, tell us who you are.
So I am Richard Walsh. I am CEO of Sharpen the Spear Coaching. I'm a 35 years now, 35-year entrepreneur, multiple businesses. I'm a best-selling author. I am a U.S. Marine, a champion boxer, a black belt. I'm an internationally recognized steel sculptor. I have a beautiful wife and 6 kids who are now in their upper teens and early 20s. Wow, lost everything in 08, 09. After 20 years in business, had to start completely over with 4 kids under 4 years, or 6 kids under 4 years old at the time. Lost the business, lost my home, had to start over again, and did that. Opened a couple more businesses. I relocated, did that. Currently, we do business coaching consulting, right? So I help business owners escape the owner prison, which is also the name of one of my books. Get them hands off and get them letting the business run them, letting the business serve them instead of them serving it. I have a major focus right now in the manufacturing industry as we're training frontline leaders for frontline leadership mastery. That's a big thing that we do, really take them through the process to help, because they're bringing manufacturing back to the U.S., right? But people really aren't prepared. They're out there getting more work, but they're not able to run their teams in the front lines where everything begins. Again, I'm a Marine, so I kind of know a little bit about that. So we put that together, which then generates, we close all the profit leaks, starts to begin to like create more revenue and ROI for the companies themselves. They're able to scale, grow, and deliver the products in a better and faster way. And I have a new book out called Sharpen the Spear. That's my new one. It's turning teams into top performers. By leading from the front. And that's me in a nutshell.
Okay, yeah, we're going to go back. We're going backwards. Okay, so I want you one at a time. What is it? So you've served our country, you said, as what was
U.S.
the
Marine, a U.S. Marine.
All right, that's no easy feat for first. I mean, to me, growing up, right, the Marine was always something that you admired. And don't get mad at me, anyone. My son was Army, so believe me, I'm not. But
What?
so being a Marine is not so easy, right? Let's just say, tell me. I want a little experience of each. I love your pitch, and I appreciate that. But we want to really know who Richard Walsh is, because if someone wants to work with you, all the stuff they can read, and I have it in the notes right there. But Richard, okay, thank you for serving and sacrifice. Tell us more about your service time, and then each one that you said, take a little time. Let's share.
Sure.
This is about
Sure.
Richard Walsh.
No problem. Yeah. So I initially tried to enlist in the Marine Corps at 13 years old. Okay. So I was a big kid, 6 foot, 180. And I'm like, I got to get out of here. I'm going to go. I always wanted to be a Marine. Went to the DI, to the recruiter's office, started talking to him. He's like, okay. And he looks at me and he says, so how old are you? And I went, well, I'm 13, but I'm ready to go. He's like, okay. So he gave me some stickers. He said, come back as soon as you graduate high school, we'll get you in. I'm like, okay. So I did. I was 17, came in one day. I said, well, I got to go in the Marine Corps. So did well in the ASVAB, all that cool stuff. My mother was not thrilled. My brother was in the Army at the time. He was a year older than I was. My younger brother actually went in the Air Force. I said, well, I got to be a Marine. And my mom was not a fan of me being a Marine. She goes, any branch but the Marine Corps. And I said, well, I can't. I have to be the best. So I got to be a Marine. And so she was all no, and they have to sign, right? When you're not 18, they got to sign for you. So just a quick note, I brought 2 recruiters over, my 2 recruiters, okay, and who are also known as the best salesmen in the world. they sat on each side of her on the couch and they basically browbeat her for 3 hours till she signed the paper so I could go in. All right. So I made that happen, went in the Corps. It was a great experience.
Wait, again, how old were you? How old? You
17.
wow.
Yeah. So yeah, great experience. Did a lot of great stuff, a lot of great training, learned a lot. One thing I did learn though was I don't take direction well. Okay. So, and now you know I've been an entrepreneur for 35 years because I'm kind of, I got to be in charge. So 4 years was enough for me there. But again, great experience. My son currently is in the Marine Corps. He's been about 2 years now. He's an embassy guard. He's out in Europe now, guarding an embassy and moving on to some other stuff. So that's a really great thing. Yeah, so that was the Marine Corps experience. Really, from a leadership standpoint, from a grit standpoint, it really the ethos of the Marine Corps is really what I was about, and that has stayed with me my entire life. I mean, there are people now, Adrian, that will meet me. They don't know me, and they'll just look at me and they go, "Marine?" I go, "Yeah." Oh, it still shows. I've been out for 35 years. You know what I mean? So it's kind of wild, but it's one of those transformative times and positions that you get that never leaves you. And the Marine Corps is a special brotherhood, obviously, right? It's a little bit different than, you don't say you're an Army, but I get to say I'm a Marine. So it's kind of cool.
Right.
So yeah, that was the beginning. Got out of the Marine Corps. We'll go into the next phase. Just started working. I was swinging a pickaxe, digging trench in Tucson, Arizona for a whopping $5 an hour, 40 hours a week for a cable. And one day a guy came out and he said, "Hey, I got a little side job for you if you're interested." And I said, "Well, I like side jobs because I only make $5 an hour and I'd like to make some more money." So I showed up at his house on a Saturday and he wanted me to shovel some granite. So it was like crushed rock, basically, right? And he says, so I get there and he's got 35 tons in the street of this crushed granite. He goes, "I need you to wheelbarrow this to the backyard, dump it, spread it, and there you go." I'm like, "Oh, I can do that. I can work." So I'm shoveling all day, did about 10 hours and 100 degrees, and they get done. I'm all proud. I'm finishing sweeping up the street, and he comes out to me, Adrian, and he put $1,000 in my hand. Okay, and
Wow.
I looked at this $1,000 and I went, "I know my future. I will shovel rock every day, all day for $1,000 a day." Okay. So I started my first business. I'm be a landscaper, whatever you want to call it. Like that's what I started. And that morphed into being a custom water feature builder, which I then scaled that, moved to Chicago, built out that business for 20 years. And during the same time, I started to do steel sculpture because I thought it was cool. And I taught myself and I started building these incredible sculptures that people really liked. And some were functional, some were not. And they bought those. I ended up doing world-class exhibits using my talents of water features and sculptures and everything else, getting internationally recognized, like I said. And that was great. And then 0809 came. Okay. And then everything kind of collapsed. Not kind of, everything shut down. No one needed a water feature or a sculpture, right? And if you remember 0809, no one was spending money. People were terrified, and rightly so. My business, November 5th, 2008, day after the election, my phone started ringing. I lost $500,000 on that day.
Oh.
Okay, people canceling, and that was the beginning of the cliff, Adrian. So it was like, I remember hanging up the phone at the end of the day. I looked at my office manager and I said, "I think it's over. I don't know how we're going to get through this because this is really bad." And sure enough, we didn't. I struggled for a while. Then the cool thing about this I always like to share is, so at this time I've got 6 kids, 4 years and younger. My wife, I got a home. We're about to lose our home. I'm thinking about like,
6
how do I
kids,
keep
4
all
years
this?
and younger, a couple twins. I don't understand that.
Yeah, 2 sets of twins. We actually have 3 adopted siblings and 3 biological. I have a biological twins, and then of course my daughter, and then my 3 adopted siblings. Here it is. I'll put it down for the record. Okay, so 5 years we're married. Little trouble conceiving. Okay, let's go in the foster care program. That'll be cool. We can maybe get a baby. Maybe we can adopt, whatever. So we did that. First baby they brought was a day old. I said, "Up here he is. Got 45-minute notice." He shows up, and they give us a car seat and a blanket in the bag. "See ya." So got him, little D'Angelo, who's now the Marine. So I'm like, "Oh, that's great." And then my wife, we did an in vitro, and 9 months later, we had a baby girl. Okay. And then the day we brought her home, The phone rings. Hey, the mother of D'Angelo, my first son, had another baby, had a baby boy. He was a couple months premature and all that stuff. So, okay, we'll take him. So we brought him over. So he's 3 weeks older than my daughter. Okay, they have a 3-week gap. Right now they're both 20, just turned 20. And then we did in vitro again, and we had twin boys. Okay, and then brought them home, and shortly after that, the phone rings again. Hey, the mother of the first two had another baby. She had a baby girl. We said, we'll take her. Okay, and she was pretty messed up, but hey, she brought all the kids to term. We got these kids. So now we got 6 in like 3.5 years. Okay, so we got 6 little babies in the house.
Well, I just want to say something, Richard. Let me just say this. Not only you are a hero for us serving, but this is beautiful that you and your wife is a hero too. And you know what? I don't need all the goopily goop about Sharpen the Spear coaching. I would work with you with just knowing this. No, honestly, what you just the two, and I can't wait to hear the rest, but this is what people want to know. That is the grit and the determination and the love and oh my God, I'm crying, but like, I'm not trying. It's the most beautiful thing I've heard in a long time. And you're probably inspiring someone to do something similar. Thank you. I just want to say thank you. Okay, continue.
Thank you. Yeah. So here we are. And just a funny note on that. So we had like a couple levels in the house and kids are all over the place. And I finally got to the point where I'm trying to save this business of mine. Right. So I'm trying to say this. So I'm not sleeping. I need a little bit of rest. I got kids crying. You got to do all this. So my wife is taking care of them all day. So I'm like, okay, here's the deal. We're all moving down to the family room. So I got a little egg crate mattress. I said, all 8 of us are sleeping right here. So the kid needs them. I reach over, stick a bottle in their mouth. I could change the kid in the dark. And I was afraid of nothing. Okay. So I'm like, we're going to do this.
Wow.
My wife can sleep. So I'm going to do kind of the night stuff as well. But at the same time, I'm in the office sometimes and I'm working. All of a sudden I just pass out at my desk, so I got to this point after, I don't know, about like a 10-month point. And I think my son was having his 4th birthday party and we're having all these people over. And my wife like looks at me and she goes, what is wrong with you? I looked at her, I go, I haven't slept in like 10 months. I think I'm going to die. I'm just sitting, I got this 1,000-yard stare because I'm like, I don't even know what's going on. It's been this whole thing was such an experience, but it was cool. But I'm like, I'm just true. Well, she goes, you got to suck it up. That's my wife. She's pretty hardcore. Okay. So yeah, really great.
She's a Marine at heart.
Yeah, right. She knew who she married, so she knew how to talk to me. So it was really great. And then I'll tell you what, things just, here's the big epiphany I had, Adrian, just so people kind of wrap this up in a bow here. So struggling, trying to keep the business, I'm doing all these dumb things to try to keep the business going and everything else, whatever it takes. And I'm like, I woke up one morning and had this incredible epiphany. And I'm like, I'm thinking about my kids, these 6 little kids who, when I leave, they're kind of crying, I leave pretty early, but they still don't want me. When I come home, they come and they attack me. They love me. They just want to be around me. I'm like, this is so great. One day I'm leaving, I'm pulling out of the drive of my truck. My 4-year-old's like running behind me crying because I'm leaving. And I'm just watching them in the rearview mirror, like get smaller because I got to go to work. I got to keep this business going and everything else. And so as I laid there, I said, if I stay on this path of businesses first, it's everything. It's what matters. I said, I'm going to ruin my children's future, their lives, because they might be good at business, but they're going to have failed relationships. They're going to have broken marriages, right? All this stuff because of what I'm doing to make this work, So I'm like, I just can't do that. So I got up, got dressed, went in the office and said, we're done today. And then I went to my construction yard with my guys. And I said, guys, we're wrapping it up this week. We got 3 days left. And everyone's like, what? This has been 10 years. Same guys work with me. We had our last cup of coffee together. Haven't seen them since. It's been 16 years, right? So, but here's the challenge.
I was going to ask if they were understanding. So I definitely want to hear what happened with them.
They got it, right? They understood. And the thing was, what I told everyone, which was more disturbing for others than me, but I'm like, I will never make another water feature and I'm never going to do another sculpture. Because here's the thing, that business, what happened was it became who I was. Okay, so my whole identity was wrapped up in my business. So now I'm also thinking, I don't have a business. If I don't have a business, who am I? What am I going to do? I'm like, people know me. I'm in TV, magazines. I'm winning awards. I've done world-class stuff. I'm like, that's who I am. And then I'm like, I'll never do that again. I'm never going to be owned by my business. It's never going to become who I am. It's what I do, and that's it. So I like literally have video like burning my uniforms in the backyard. I just burned all that.
Really?
Yeah, I'm just like never. I'm not. It's never, because I was always in a shirt, a hat, whatever. Always. That's like uniform of the day, right? That's what I wore. And to this day, it's been 16 years. I haven't built a water feature. And I haven't done a sculpture. I haven't touched anything. Just moved on. And people are like, "Dude, you're crazy. Like, how can you do that?" My friends were so upset that I wasn't going to do this anymore. I kind of like lost friends. I'm like, they thought I was a fool. I'm like, you don't get it. It's not going to, that's not who I am. That identity is not, I can't be that, because then it owns me.
Wow. Okay. So, I mean, I want to work with you. Being a Marine, number one, then literally taking the risk and understanding, but putting yourself and even your children and your clients first too, knowing that this was hard I'm so glad that we're not like going like, because the Sharpen the Spear coaching, that's something we all can learn. This is gold to me. Okay, so now we've learned you've got the grit, the determination. You could go 10 months without sleeping. Little nod to you. That's pretty intense. Okay, next thing you mentioned.
So, during this whole time too, remember, so I said I was a boxer. So coming out of the Marine Corps, I'll just jump back a little bit. I started boxing. Okay, I wanted to be I don't know why. I had a friend who boxed, and I'm like, his name was Dave. He was a very big dude. And I said, well, I want to box. He goes, well, come down to the gym. So I'll give you the quick story on that. So I'm like, okay. So I go down again. I'm fresh out of the Marine Corps, and I want to box, and they glove me up and like get in the ring my first day there. Like, okay, with his nickname was Crazy Dave. He was about 6'4", 235 pounds, about 10% body fat. Could play with 350 on the bench like it was a toy, and he's a South London kickboxing champion. Okay, and all this stuff. So now here we are in Tucson, and I get in there, and the bell rings, and what do? I want to fight. So I'm chasing him around. Can't lay a glove on him, Adrian. Okay, can't lay. He's just slipping, and he's moving, and I'm like, then he just looks at me, and he goes, pop with a jab, just a straight left jab, and breaks my nose. Okay, so I'm like, oh, okay. So I keep going. I'm chasing him around. So I'm bleeding. I bled a lot from the nose. I'm chasing him around. Then he stops again. He looks at me. Pop. He throws a left hook. Okay, I kid you not. Mouthpiece out of my mouth, out of the ring, and across the gym. Okay, that's how hard he hit me. I'm like, whoa. And some little kid ran up and gave me back my mouthpiece. He picked it off the floor. I put it back in. I finished the round. I go to the ring. I'm like, I'm bleeding a lot. I say, hey, man, let me just blow my nose. Like, no. And I blow my nose, which gives me two big black eyes. Okay. So now I'm going to work that night. I was a manager of this bar. I walk with two black eyes, a broken nose, can't chew. Okay. I couldn't chew for like 3 days, so and they're like, what did you do? I go, I was sparring with Dave. You can't do that. Like, you can't be working here and like looking like, I go, well, then I'll quit because I'm going back tomorrow. Okay, I'm going to get good at this. Okay, that's my mindset. I'm a little odd. And I went back the next day. I started training. I ended up moving up to Scottsdale, Arizona, and trained even more. Became the state Golden Gloves champion, ABF champion. I started doing all that kind of stuff. And again, winning, doing really well. And then my last fight, I was the favorite, another Golden Gloves championship. And 10 seconds in, a guy threw a little uppercut. It felt like he thumbed me in the eye. It felt like he pushed my eye back. And I'm like, oh, and then I couldn't feel the left side of my face. So I dropped on the one knee real quick. I'm like, there's something wrong. Okay, counted me out. He thought he did something, which he did nothing. Okay, broke the orbit underneath my eye. Is all cracked here. It is shifted. Okay, so that caused the nerve damage. So I got a big gap in the side of my head. So, funny story, amateur athletics. There's a ring doctor, right? The doc. Well, he's literally drinking a scotch on ice in a plastic cup. Okay. And I go, Doc, I can't feel this side of my face, And he goes, yeah. And he's sipping the scotch. And he said, here, you broke your orbit. He goes, put this on it. And he empties his glass of the scotch, the ice, and he goes, put this on it. So I'm holding this cup on my face. And he goes, and go to the hospital. So I drove myself to the emergency room. And I'm like holding this cup of ice, that smells like scotch, I'm like, I need this. And they're like, oh, okay. So we'll take a look at you. And a couple of days later, I'm in for full surgery. Now, here's the deal. I had 7 breaks in my nose. It was actually detached from my face. And then I broke all this at the same, like this was my face, right? I know you're saying, how are you so good looking now if all that happened? but I had a great
100%.
plastic surgeon. But they rebuilt my nose, everything else, and all that. So it was really good. So recovered that, but never got to box again. Never.
Wait. So first of all, did you get paid for anything? Was this all volunteer, like your
It's
time, or
amateur, baby. It's free. It was free the whole way. I did this to
holy
myself.
moly.
Yeah. So, but I
Okay.
loved it. I
Another
love the
reason why to
train.
work with Richard.
Right.
Another reason. Here we go.
Yeah, and I love to train. I love to work hard. Right. So it just kind of worked again with my ethos, my kind of warrior mindset too. So that was great. But now I couldn't box anymore. The final thing was I'm walking down to the operating room with this nurse. She says, "Oh, so how did it happen?" I go, "Well, I box." And she goes, "Oh, my husband Ray does the videos." I go, "I know Ray. He's done videos for me." She says, "Oh, great." So I get on the table and they do the anesthesia. And she asked me, she goes, "Okay." She's looking over me and she's like, "It's all going to be good. We can get you all fixed up and get you back in the ring." And the last thing I remember right after that was the surgeon leaning over, shaking his head, going, "No way. You're never getting back in the ring." And he was right. Okay. So he fixed me up, did all that. And I never boxed again. So there's kind of a quick ending there. Pursued my business, started building that, right? Started growing. Again, I got moved back to the Chicagoland area. And then from there, I said, well, I got to do something. So I took up Taekwondo. I said, I want to do Taekwondo, okay? Because then, I'm a pretty good boxer, and I'm not going to worry about it too much. So I ended up getting a first degree black belt. Spent a couple of years, 5 days a week doing that, as well as running my business. Achieved that. That was really great. It was not as good as boxing. Boxing is incredible, but can't do that. So I did that, and that was good. And then just kept, again, building the business, going that. We already talked about 08, 09. That was over, right? So next step was, what do you do next, right? You have lost everything. You're out of your home, everything else. Going to go find a place to live. We went to Wisconsin.
Can I get an age? Can I get how old you are, like, at this point?
So let's see. Let me think. I got married at 34, first child at 39. So that, 39. And then we lost 4 years later. So I was like 43. I was around 43, 40 years old.
Thank you.
Okay. And then start over. Didn't know what I wanted to do. I wasn't going to do water features. I wasn't going to do sculpture. What to do? I love training people, right? I used to train people. I was a certified personal trainer in 93. I got one of the first certifications for that. Love working out, train people. I train them to box. I train them to work out. So I'm like, I'll do that. Now, my dream was like, hey, I'm going to have people in the wilderness. I'll be dragging them through creeks and climbing trees and doing like this. That never happened. Okay. That dream was good. It was kind of what I wanted to do. I ended up going to an Anytime Fitness. Okay. So there's a million of them, right? And they needed a trainer, because they didn't have one. Then the program wasn't going well. So I can do that. And I built a program and I started training people and more people and more people. Next thing you know, I'm trainer of the year for Anytime Fitness. I'm like, oh, that's cool. So what does that mean to an entrepreneur, Adrian?
Wait, for your own gym, for the local gym, or for the franchise?
For the franchise, for that, they have a whole. So okay, how it works is they have 6 or 10 each or 12 each. And out of all those, I was the top guy, right? Trainer of the year, which awesome. Is really cool, right? So I'm like, but that means I got to go to my own gym now. So I opened a gym with boot camp style training. So I went and got a place, opened that up, and started bringing people in and training groups and doing all this really cool stuff. That was a lot of fun. Did that for almost 5 years. Really exciting. Brought some Marines in who I knew and were all the trainers. You came in, it was hardcore, Adrian. It's blouse boots. We got the boots on, the black, the hats, names, the whole thing. It just reeked of pain when you came in. It's just like it's like nothing in here. Oh, you don't need a lot. I'll show you what we're going to do. And that was a lot of fun. We did that. And then, so that's going okay, now I have a direction. I'm back in business. I'm doing that kind of stuff. Wanted to do more. So the next step was to open a construction company doing roofing, siding, windows. So I launched that, got that going. That was great. Did that for a while. Didn't love it. It was a good income generator, but I really didn't love it. So I'm like, people started asking me, well, listen, how'd you go from all that world-class, blah, 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 lose everything, 6 kids, all this, start over, come back, and now you've already done 2 more businesses, and how'd you do that? I go, well, I would tell them, I go, well, what are you doing? So I asked them about their business, and then I help them, in a mentor position, right? So I'm mentoring people, and every business owner I talk to, the patterns were all the same. They're doing all the same wrong things. So I'm like, well, I can help these people. So that's a really good idea. I'm start helping them. And I go, I think I should write a book. So I'm going to put this together. So again, I'm a little obsessive. I stood at my kitchen counter for about 3 weeks and I'm typing away and I wrote a book. Okay. And I did this whole thing called Escape the Owner Prison, that contractor's new way to scale, regain control, and fast track growth while loving life. Boom. We got bestseller status. Got that out there. I got a best-selling book. I built an academy around that so I could train business owners. I could help them. So that's when my coaching program really launched. I had it before that, but this kind of really launched with that. I'm like, oh, this is fun. And then teamed up with some people, did a bunch of great stuff, helping a lot of businesses. And here we're just rolling. Right now it's 2019, 2020, COVID hits. I'm doing all that stuff. I'm consulting, get all through that. Then I'm like, okay, well, what's next? So I'm scaling it. I'm growing this. I'm like, okay, I want to shift directions, but let's write another book. Because when you write a book, then you got to build something around the book. You can't just write a book because you don't make any money selling a book. Okay. We'd all like to think we do, but we don't. Okay. It's a high-end business card. That's what I call it. Okay. So I wrote this Sharpen the Spear. We're now working in the manufacturing industry because manufacturing is coming back to America. We're getting the people equipped to lead. We're creating a movement. So this is the big thing. It's not like I'm going to go just train a few people. We're going to kind of raise the standards. We're going to create certifications. We have all this stuff in place for this manufacturing. So that's where I'm at now. I've got a son in the Marine Corps. I got a couple other kids who have moved out, right? They kind of do their thing. I've got a couple left at home. My youngest now is almost 18 and it's been quite a ride. It's really great. My wife been married 26 years now. So that's awesome. I made that. So I beat a lot of odds, especially with my friends. They all lost money. They all thought, never married. You're never getting married. You're never doing this, never doing that. And I did it all. So it's really good.
Oh my gosh, Richard. Oh, I absolutely love your story. And I love, I get some water, get some water. I love your story. And yeah, you know what? I'm glad I asked because one thing is understanding what a coach, sometimes we forget the story behind it. So do you have any of your children interested in what you do, helping you in any way in your business?
I have one that is, and which is great. Sorry, I love him, but I never had an expectation for my children to do what I do. Okay. Because when you do that, that's a lot of pressure on a kid. And I am such an odd bird, Adrian, like they're not like me. I mean, there's some things, right? But it's like, I don't expect them to follow this path. It's not easy. Okay. Not that I want them to have an easy path, but a lot of them are like, I want you to go do what you do. My son went in the Marine Corps. Okay. He wants to go that path for now. He wants to do that. He's got goals in there and he did that. I trained him. Okay. Since he was young, cross country runner. Great. We're doing that. Track runner, 800 meter. He goes, I'd like to go to the Junior Olympics. I said, we can do that. So we trained for a year. Okay. Boom. Got him to the Junior Olympics for the 800. That was a blast, both in the 800 and the discus. Did both of those. So that was a fun experience. And then the next thing he wanted to do was box. Okay. So I'm like, you sure you don't want to do jujitsu or something like that? He's like, no, I want to box. I'm like, okay, you tell your mother because she's going to think I want you to do that.
Oh, that's right.
She is not going to be a fan of you getting punched in the face. Okay. You're a pretty good looking kid and everything else, so I don't know. You go tell her. So he did. And we started training and winning his fights, doing awesome. And then the Marine Corps thing came. He said, listen, I want to go in the Marine Corps. He was getting his Eagle Scout. We were at the ceremony. So we're having lunch before. And he goes, Dad, I got something I got to tell you. No dad wants to hear that. Okay. So I'm like, okay, what is it? He goes, well, I want to go in the military. I want to go first to be a Navy SEAL and all that stuff. But he wanted to do that. I said, well, that's all good. And he goes, and I need you to train me. I said, now you're talking my language. I said, do you know what you're asking for? Because he knows how I train. Okay. And nothing's easy about it. And he goes, I do. I said, okay, great. So he ended up being in the Marine Corps. He did the work. I did the instruction. 7 months of 3 a days. So it was strength and conditioning in the morning, 6 o'clock, half-hour break. He did a 6 to 10 mile hill run. In the afternoon, we're in the pool. Okay, doing all the stuff for Marine Recon qualification. That was our stand. We weren't really training for boot camp because that'd be easy for him. So we did that 7 months doing that. He went in, super excelled. He was called MSG, third hardest school in the Marine Corps, Marine security guard. He's out again. He works at embassies, guarding embassies around the world and stuff. So really great, but just another great experience just training him to get in and go in and super excel. And it's a lot of joy in that kind of stuff. I mean, I built an obstacle course at the house, 20-foot rope climbs. He's carrying logs, getting hosed down. I mean, we don't play, right? It's like,
may I have his first name? What is his first name?
D'Angelo.
D'Angelo. I just want to take a second to speak with you for a minute. I'm trying not to cry because the story, your dad's story, first of all, is so beautiful. But D'Angelo, the minute I heard that you got your Eagle Scout award as a former Cub Master, and yes, I was a den leader, but I graduated to Cub Master, but of a couple hundred boys. I just want to tell you, I don't know you, but I'm so proud of you because we need more young men like you. Just being an Eagle Scout, Richard, is no easy feat. And I've always said, when you first started talking about your son, I thought, oh my God, I wonder if he's an Eagle Scout. Being an Eagle Scout to me just is a top, right? You, D'Angelo, thank you so much for your sacrifice, for your service. I want to cry. I'm gonna cry, baby. But I just want to thank you for being a young man. I know that you had the best of the parents, but you are also going to be motivating and bringing up other people. And in essence, you're going to be coaching those people. You're doing it now, and I just think it's very special. And I want you to know, as a U.S. citizen, I thank you for your service. Thank you for fighting for our freedom. That's it. I'm sorry.
Oh, I appreciate you're making me well up here. You know, I mean, it's really something. The Eagle Scout thing was really great. Here's a cool little story about that. So him and another friend were in the same troop, and they weren't really excelling. Okay. D'Angelo early on struggled to read and stuff, so people make fun of him a little bit and everything else, you know, but the other kids in the troop, like, you guys are never going to be Eagle Scouts. And they do all that stuff. So him and his friend Kyle made a pact. They're like, we're going to do it. We're going to become Eagle Scouts, you know? So it's a hard story for me too, but, so he's on their way. Then Kyle was really struggling with a lot of stuff we didn't even know about, end up taking his own life. Okay. So that was like this great motivation for my son, because he did it for Kyle. See what you did to me? But it was awesome. So that him getting that Eagle Scout was way bigger than like him doing it for himself, you know. And Kyle, his dad was a Marine, you know, about the same time I was and stuff and everything else. So we just had this connection that was really awesome, you know. So that was, and everything he's going to do and everything he's doing now is, you know, I'm just super pleased. That's all I can say.
What was his project? What was the project?
He ended up raising, we have a men's shelter, really cool men's shelter that got started a number of years ago, called Gifts Men's Shelter in Janesville, Wisconsin. And he went out and collected and raised paper products, you know, because they got like 50 guys there, and he got like a wall full. Okay, like, so toilet paper and paper towels and lotions and all this kind of stuff that really drains the account of these shelters. You know, they need money, but man, they need product. We do it for the women's shelter in our church too. We give them by 4x4 box, you know, 4x4 pallet loaded with shampoo. Like they just tell us what they need. Oh, we need garbage bags. Boom. Everyone donates garbage bags. They have garbage bags for 3 years. Okay. They don't have to spend it, you know. Shampoo. Boom. We got it. We take care of it. You know, so everyone can donate $4, right? But you get 500 people who do that. That's a lot of shampoo. Okay, so it's, you know, so he did that, which was really cool. So that was a neat project for him. But yeah, he's very goal oriented, very, very driven, you know, very focused. I mean, he doesn't take distraction. He's impressive. You know, all my kids are impressive. I don't want to like say I get 6 kids.
No, I want to hear the story of everyone. We'll be here for a couple hours. Richard, D'Angelo is going to be in the book.
Awesome.
That's great. This book will be this interview will be turned into a book from pod2book.ai, which is amazing. And you'll see your chapter. But in essence, again, just listen to the story. You obviously, we all know that Richard knows how to coach, and the spirit behind you is freaking me out. But at the end of the day, what you have already talked about really shows me that you are so. And I'm thinking that you probably have a lot of clients, and that you are maybe are like. So let's talk about who you would like to look at a client, because not everyone may have the opportunity. Everyone's going to watch this, and you're going to have like 500 clients. You're going to be like, no, I can't take everyone. But no, but seriously, like just everything I've heard, that your personal story is really intense, and I have a feeling your wife has a story too. I hope you write a book about your children and your story. And I was a guardian ad litem for a couple of years, so I understand how not easy it is. You're making it sound so easy, like, oh, they called and I took a child in and boom, like it's not, it doesn't, I wish it was that easy, but it's not. And there's a lot behind it. So it's not only the grit and the determination, you have the humanity, you have the heart, you're both empathetic. You are really both beautiful human beings. What is your wife's name?
Andrea. And did I tell you?
Andrea. Oh,
Did I
I
tell
love you,
you?
Andrea.
We also homeschooled all 6 kids all the way through. So that was our plan from the beginning, even before we had kids. Like, well, we're going to do that. They're not going to go in public school. We're going to raise them with our view, the whole thing, our biblical worldview and everything else. And that was an incredibly great decision. It was not easy. Okay.
No,
but
I can't imagine. 6
kids all the way through, from the beginning to out of high school and everything else. And man, they are amazing kids. So.
Andrea, I'm going to talk to you for a second. You are my hero. You didn't just raise 6 of your own kids. You've raised our future. Thank you for raising our future. Thank you. Because that's exactly what it's about. As parents, we don't just raise a child and the child just belongs to us. It belongs to all of us. And that's what's going to happen, what we're going to need to have a better world. And so thank you. And thank you, Richard, for being just amazing parents. Yes, we're so glad that Richard has Sharpen the Spear coaching and 250. I'm like so glad that you're out there telling your story. And believe me, at 63, if I could go back in my life, Richard, and if I met you at the age of 40, my last child was 44 actually, but if what I needed was a coach. There wasn't coaches around 23 years ago. There was psychologists around. You said you needed a coach. You were saying going to therapy. It was like the craziest thing. So if you are now at a point of your life that you're working for someone, you want to work for yourself, whatever that looks like, you really should look at Sharpen the Spear coaching, because I know myself, I need to sharpen up what I have. I'm taking Glenn Lundy's challenge, and it's unrecognizable and I'm like, I want to be unrecognizable and confident. And I could see right away, just from like listening to, he gets up early and Breakfast with Champions in the morning, and I'm like, it's moved me along. So coaching is a gift. Give it to yourself and then gift it to someone else. And you know what? I don't know if Richard has, I don't know, exactly like who he's coaching and all of that. But at the end of the day, I would trust Richard coaching my child. I have a son, Sam. Like, that's exactly what we need. We need to make sure that you have a coach like Richard that has the experience, has the wisdom, has the grit and the determination in the background. Because Richard, this like coaching space can be like, I'm a coach. I'm 22 and I'm a coach. Like, to me, it doesn't work that way. It's got to be the experience and the wisdom and all of it. You are a real package. Now, I want to hear the spear story, because I feel like you just forgot to tell us that you were spear fisher and you had a TV show on spear hunting. I don't know.
No, the spear, the Sharpen the Spear is, again, a lot of what I do is warrior ethos, right? There's the grit, there's determination. As a man, I'm a protector, I'm a provider, right? This thing, I mean, choose your weapon. A spear is just cool. Okay. And I always tell people, Adrian, like this, I know this will be odd, but like, I'm not like scared of a gun, like someone want to shoot me. But if someone has a sword or a spear, like that kind of worries me. Okay. Cause they wield that, like the damage, even if they don't kill you, I'm like, that's what, a gun, we pull the trigger and the bullet goes, does the work. But like that is, and I know I'm being weird, but it's just, so I'm like, that to me is a spear is more terrifying than a gun. If you think of
Are you
someone
spearing like this, or are you spearing with a spear gun?
No, this is all hand.
That's
Matter of fact,
fair.
one of the vertical spear you see behind me, I can't pronounce it in African. It's an African spear, but they named it. Okay, they named it after the sound it made when you ran it through someone. Okay, it makes a certain
Whoa.
sound because of the shape of the spear, and so that I can't pronounce the name, but I'm like, I got to have that spear. Okay, so I have it on the wall here for display. But yeah, it's just here's how I say it. What we do is we hone the entrepreneurial warriors on the battlefield of business. So we're honing them, we're sharpening them, right? I have a whole thing now with sharpened impact, right? It's all about sharpening your spear, and that's your tools, that's yourself, right? I'm a weapon, right? I got skills. We all have skills, but also when we're in business, okay, we have to keep that sharp. We can't get dulled by the everyday, the all day, right? When you use something, use a knife a lot, what do? You got to sharpen it, or it's not going to be effective. The only thing it's going to cut is your skin, okay, when you're using it. So you got to be sure that stuff stays sharp. And these are tools in our tool belt. Coaching is part of that. Improving everything you're doing in your business, letting go of a lot of your business, let other people run it, things like that, right? This is all part of sharpening. So it kind of really worked with, again, my mindset, who I am, what I am, and then what I bring to my clients. Also it attracts certain people, because remember, you ever hear the saying, you don't get what you want, you get who you are?
Ooh, I don't think I heard that exact statement before. Wow.
I believe that was Jim Rohn, but I love it. And it's so, when you start looking, if you're working with people in any capacity, okay, look at who your clients are and tell me how much they're like you, because they are. Okay.
Wow.
You might be able to help them. You might be a different place along the journey, but you'll see. And I look at all my clients, I'm like, yeah, we could all go to the gun range together. Okay. We can all get in the ring. It's that, there's just that's a thing, and once you understand it, you're like, okay, so that's who I target. Yes. Like who I work with. I don't need you to be super warrior or anything like that. What I mean is a mindset of competition, of victory, that business is battle, and every day you got to go to war. You got to be on point. You got to be a watcher on the wall, right? You got to protect, you got to provide, you got to bring the stuff home for your family, right? You have to do all this stuff. So when I wrap all that together, the spear works.
It's beautiful. It is beautiful. Sorry to ask you, but can you just do that? Can you say that quote one more time? That is such a lovely quote. I want to make sure I capture it.
You don't get what you want, you get who you are.
Okay, we're going to end on that note. That is amazing. I definitely want that to be a highlight. As I said, with the book, this is amazing. I'm so glad to capture. Did you want to mention anything else, or your other children's names, just the first names to have the
Yeah. So I should remember them. Let's see. We got D'Angelo. I'm going to go from the oldest to the youngest. Got D'Angelo. I've got Adeline. I've got Augustine. I've got Oliver, Xavier, and Tia. That's them.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. Let me just see if Momo, did you have anything you would like to on mic and say hello to Richard, or Diana? Would you like to come up on stage? What a story. Momo was here. Momo, did you get to hear?
Richard, I absolutely love that. I definitely started crying with you guys when you shared the emotional moment. But what a life you've lived. And it's really inspiring to me as I'm entering that golden era of life where I'm in my 45s and feeling like, is this it? Is this over? You've been an inspiration to just take those leaps and jumps and really expand what I believe is possible. So kudos to you, Richard. What an awesome interview, Adrian. Just truly best to be here.
Thank you. Just
Momo,
remember,
thank you so much.
And remember, 45, you're a child. You're just getting going. Okay. Like there's so much ahead of you. Like I have a cool past. Just want to say, like, I've done a lot of cool stuff. What I'm working on right now is bigger than anything I've ever done. Like it's massive what I'm doing. It's a legacy builder. Okay. And I'm turning 60 in like a week. Okay. So you're not done. Like my favorite saying about retirement, retire. Yeah, I'm going to retire. I'm going to put 4 new wheels on. I'm going to retire and keep going down the road. That's where I'm going.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
We'll retire with death. Death is retirement for me. I'm going to be moving the whole time.
Wow, what an entry. Welcome, Diane. Diana, how are you?
I'm doing very well. Hi, how are all of you? I'm so excited to see
Awesome.
Momo as well. I haven't seen her. And Mr. Walsh, it's nice to meet you. I have
You
complete
too.
FOMO. I missed the entire interview. So hopefully this is a podcast or something that I can find afterwards, because I love the sayings that you shared with us, both of them. I love the retire. And it was just very nice to pop in and have a good experience like this. So thank you, Adrian, and nice to meet you.
Oh
Thank
my
you.
gosh. Go ahead, Richard.
No, thank you.
Yeah,
That's great.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Diana and Momo are both extremely talented, and what they do. Actually, can we take a second, Richard? Would you mind if we
Not at all.
have Momo and Diana introduce themselves? Would you mind, Momo, introducing yourself and then Diana?
Oh, not at all. I am a singer-songwriter here in Los Angeles, and my background is in Reiki and Akashic reading, so doing some healing. And definitely, I mean, we've brought meditation and sound healing into the schools, and I'm preparing a program on that. And it's just been so amazing to inspire these children with the awareness that the peace, calm, and strength is within them all the time. I take this huge, like 50-pound crystal that they're able to see, and then I partner with the sound healer who has all these amazing instruments. And so that's been my focus. We're having a woman's little workshop that's great. And then also, I'm a host for podcasting, and I just completed 32 episodes of a podcast calling, and it's entitled Heartbroken, Not Broken. And it's in 53 countries now. So I'm really excited just to be kind of, doing these little things, but, to hear your story, I'm like, oh, actually, I can kind of create this legacy. And I'm definitely writing that retire saying down, like Diana said.
Yeah, that's awesome. That is awesome. I have a podcast as well. It's my second one. And I'm at about 180 episodes so far. 1 hour conversations. It's a fun, podcasting is a blast. It's like the funnest thing I do.
I love that. Or sometimes you cry, as you could
Right.
see. Momo, thank you so much. I love what you're doing. Momo, I've loved Momo for a year. And wow, Momo. And I'll send your information to Richard so he has it, just so you can stay connected. And Diana, how are you? Do you mind unmiking and sharing?
Sure. Thank you so much. And I always learn something new about Momo and everyone that comes into this wonderful chatter space and shares a little bit more about them. It's always fun to get to know each other more and more. And I live in Los Angeles. I'm actually very close to Momo, and very much like her, I have a huge heart for the world of spirituality. Definitely didn't see it coming. I've been in real estate for over 20 years. And, life has shared its moments with me in a very interesting way, from having a child that's gone through multiple brain surgeries and learning challenges, and just that whole experience as a mom, and how to be there for another human being and their most basic needs was really humbling for me. So right now I'm still doing both. Very motivated, especially when your face lit up, Richard, when you talked about your podcast. So
Yeah.
I think that's kind of like he may be that final push for me, because I've never done one. Um, and I've spoken on a few of them who've asked me back, but I keep telling myself, you know what? I'm not going to do another podcast until I open up my own, and that's where I'm at. So it's so nice to meet you.
Awesome. Yeah, do it. Okay. Imperfect action wins the day. Just start doing it and go make some mistakes live
Oh
on
my
air.
goodness! Wait, what was
Yeah,
that?
say it
Can you
again. Say
rewind
it
that
again.
one?
Imperfect action wins the day.
Love that.
So perfection will ruin all your hopes and dreams. Okay, so
Oh my God.
It'll just start doing it. You'll figure it out as you go. It's the old, it's fire then aim. It's ready, fire, aim. So send some rounds down range, adjust your shot. You're good to go, but you're moving. And that's what you need to do. So take that action. Just start a podcast. Even if you're just talking to nobody, which is how all podcasts begin. You aren't talking to anybody, okay, except yourself. So it's all good. Or if you have a guest, I love interviewing. I think I've interviewed 360 or 70 guests, and appeared on about 250. You'll love it, and you're great. You sound great. Just get on to it.
Diana, I'm even wearing my pajamas, but you wouldn't know it because I've got a scarf covering me. So you can do whatever you want to do. That whole perfectionist, I'm noticing that I am not a perfect. Like, that's kind of part of my success, is that I do that. Sheila, I hope you're listening, because we need to get you to take Richard's advice. That was incredible, Richard. Thank you so much. So Momo and Diana, what's going to happen is I had my first book, which Leah was in the room. She popped out. Leah is the community manager for Chatter Social. So we all have a love for Chatter Social. And so somewhere we go where we can do things like this and teach different things. And Momo, I'm really excited for you to come back and teach the rooms. But I'm doing this for Podmatch. There's a program called podmatch.com, you guys. It's amazing. And as a podcast host, it's really lovely to be able to use the program. And I thought, well, I want to have 15 guests, and I'm going to put them in the book for PodFest coming up in Orlando. The last interview will be on Alex on November 6th. And then he's the owner of Podmatch, which is an amazing program, as I said. So and you know what else I did, Richard? I want to do something different. So not that it's so different, but I thought, what would it look like if instead of publishing like every Wednesday, right, I had enough episodes? So I'm doing a 15-day sprint, and that really changed my algorithm. My downloads are really stronger now just by, publishing. And so don't be surprised, Richard. It's not like, sorry, those of you that are a little bit, 3 months behind, but anyways, Richard, you're going to be published in the next couple days, because I think I have 9 in front of you, but you have made the top 15. I'm really excited to have you in the book. Awesome. I'm excited to have your children listed. It is a narrative. It's a story. It doesn't come out like a transcript or anything like that. Thank you, Momo and Diana, for being here. I love both of you. I just think so highly of you. And Richard, anything that I didn't tell you that I didn't ask you that I should have asked?
No, I think it just on the podcast thing, when you're talking to people and doing this, it's a very powerful platform. I'm the same thing. I did 50 recordings to have like a bank, right? But then I realized, wow, that's all year if I do one a week. But I said, well, I'll release 3 a week. Okay, till I run out, then I'll go to 1 a week. Okay, that started in January. All right, and I'm still doing 3 a week. I've got 30 more interviews before the end of the year. January's already booked with guests. I'm like, I'm still at the 3-person a week. I've tried to reel it back a little bit, but I'll be over 200 before the end of the year for the first year. So that's exciting too. It does change a lot of things when you get that. But I do it just I don't do it to monetize it. Like, I know people can make money and everything else. I do it because of the people like Adrian and the people that I meet, the ability to collaborate. That's where you connect. Where can you go? Where in this year I've spoken to 200 top experts. I've talked to everybody over both my podcasts, NBA coaches, Navy SEALs, down to best-selling authors, publishers, you name it. I've talked to them. That was not ever even in the possibility 20 years ago. You had to be NBC. There's all these people. Now we're doing it here. Here we are, like doing this with incredible guests. So, like you said, you save those recordings, you get clips. I mean, it's what a blessing it is to do, and it's just fun. It's just fun. Is.
I taught my daughter how to do the show notes and how to listen. I don't edit this. There's no editing. We go on, we come out. But Richard, how many interviews have you cried together?
Yeah, there's been not many. A couple. I still get choked up and I try to reel it back, but there's when you get in that stuff talking about your kids or some of the life experiences, it's pretty intense. Great thing. So talk about podcasts. I was a guest on one. She was a guest on mine. And then she knew about my son. She said, "Is he or can we both can I interview him and you?" So we got to do a podcast together. And listen, he did most of the talking. You want to talk about like a dad moment for 35 minutes, him describing his childhood and like why he does what he does. I'm just like, I'm looking, I'm going, okay. So I said this to him, I go, listen, son, the difference between me at 20 and you at 20, I did things for the thing. Like I do a great thing because it's a great thing, and I did it. I go, everything you do is for the future. When you listen to him, because she asked him, well, why you do the Marine Corps and why did you buy? He goes, well, I want to be able to protect my family with both my hands and a weapon. Okay. And then you talk about discipline and why it's important and people don't do it. I'm like, and I'm just sitting there in awe. Like, oh my gosh, like this. Who doesn't want to hear this? Yeah, but until like he's just saying it on this podcast, you're like, wow, dude, that is because I'll give you one more saying. Ready? With children, more is caught than taught. Okay, so you can tell them all the right things. They're only going to do what they see you do. So if you don't walk congruently with how you talk, okay, they're only going to do what they see you do. So be careful. Okay, be aware of that. That matters. And that's one of those, that was a great confirmation of more is caught than taught. So it was pretty cool.
Wow. I love that. I have a podcast, My Daughter, My Friend. And so it's my daughter who's 19 and myself, and we hop on. We did a 5-month road trip 3 years ago.
Awesome.
And people were like, ooh, how could you be with your daughter all the time? And I'm like, ooh, how could you not be with your daughter all the time? Like, I can't wait till she wakes up and like every day. But yeah, I'm noticing this, like, just the sharing. And as I'm learning more about her as it goes from a podcast, it'll be a book too by Mother's Day. We want to interview other mothers and daughters and answer that question. Can mothers and daughters be friends? But now I'm like, same thing. I hope someone starts up My Son, My Friend, because at the end of the day, it's an interesting topic. I'm not here to judge or say if you should or shouldn't, but I'm so thrilled that my daughter at the age of 19 and me at 63, that we both could actually be considered friends right now. And I just can't wait to get off work and stop doing the interviews and spend time with her today. But Richard, thank you so much. And I'm going to just say this because it's crazy. We laughed together. We cried together. I learned stories of your life. Andrea, I love your son. I love, I just want to tell you, you are a fantastic guest. Thank you so much for your time. I don't take it lightly. And I am just so grateful to Alex and Podmatch for putting us together. I always think of how did we meet? And then there's someone that had to be behind that. So thank you, Alex. Richard, this is not the end of our relationship. So thank you so much. You will definitely see a copy of the narrative so we make sure your family can look at it and make sure they're happy. And I think I've fallen in love with you. Not that way, Andrea, just in a friendly way. Okay. But you are 3 things. Again, you're brave, you're brilliant, you're bald, and you actually are a very beautiful human being. Thank you so much. I've just loved every minute. So I'm going to say goodbye, and then I'm going to close the room. And I really appreciate your time. So have a thank you for watching. If you've come on, I really appreciate your coming on the live stream. And what a great day. You made my day. Thank you. I'm going to end the stream right